Hi, welcome back to lesson 7. So in lesson 6, we did multiplication. In lesson 7, we're going to do division of fractions. This first activity, I told you on Canvas not to print page 2 because you're not going to have the Cuisenaire rods. And I do like to show you a couple so you understand division, but you're not going to have the rods when you take your test. So I'm going to concentrate on the algorithm of division, how we can find it using algebra rather than, well, not algebra, arithmetic, whatever, rather than using the rods. But I do want to show you this rod activity, the first couple anyway, just so you kind of get an idea of the meaning of division. So when we divide one number by another, we're really asking how many copies of the second number are in the first. So when we see 6 divided by 2, we should say how many copies of 2 are in 6? 2, 4, 6. So there's 3 copies of 2 in 6. So just remember what that means. How many copies of 2 are in 6? So we kind of read the problem backwards in division. So we're going to go back to the old train that we had in a previous exercise. So again, they're telling us in the directions that orange and blue, or orange and brown, make a whole. So this is our unit. This is our whole. Like picture a whole circle. That's what this is. So orange plus brown, 1. Then blue they filled in for us, but I'll just show you just to remind you from our previous activity that 2 blues make a whole. That means 1 blue is 1/2. So if 2 make a whole, 1 will be 1/2. Hence the 1/2 there. Next we have dark green. Dark green, I kind of remember it being 3. Let's see if that's true. So dark green, yes it is. So if 3 greens make a whole, that means 1 green is 1/3, right? Light green. I think this one was 5 or 6. I can't remember. It seems like it was 6. I haven't played with these since we did them a couple days ago. They are kind of fun though. I wish we could be doing this in class together. It'd be a lot more fun. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if 6 greens make a whole, that means 1 light green is going to be 1/6. And then we have red. So 2, 4, 6, 8. And you'll see where this is heading in a minute. I know this is tedious watching me make a train here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 reds make a whole. That means 1 red would be 1/9. Looks like my pin's about ready to bite it, huh? And last white, remember how we just put a couple whites there and then we counted? So 2 whites make a red. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 whites make a whole. So that means 1 white will be 1/18 of the whole. Okay? So they're saying, what is 1 divided by 1/2? So I'm going to make this a little smaller so we can see. What is 1 divided by 1/2? So that means how many 1/2 pieces are in 1? Well, here's 1. Still up a little high. How many 1/2 pieces are in 1? There are 2. So that's what this is saying. How many copies of 1/2 are in 1? So how many copies of 1/2? We said blue was 1/2. How many copies are in 1? 2. And that makes sense if you had, let's say, a circle and you cut it in half. How many 1/2s are in the whole? 1, 2. So that's what 1 divided by a half means. How many copies of 1/2 are in 1? And there's 2. So why don't you shut off the video and see if you could, well, actually this one might be hard for you to do without picture. Never mind, we'll do it together. So this next one says, how many copies of 1/9 are in 2/3? I'm going to move this all down a little bit so we can see everything. Okay. So it says dark green is 1/3. So 2/3, does everybody agree, would be 2 dark greens? So there's 2/3, 2/3 of a whole, because 3 pieces we said made a whole, and we wrote it down right there. 3 pieces make a whole. So how many copies of 1/9 are in 2/3? Well, 1/9 we just showed was red. So we want to know how many reds make this 2/3. So let's bring this down and see. 1, 2, 3. Looks like it's going to be 6. 4, 5, 6. So do you see how we can visualize this with those links? So how many 1/9 are in 2/3? Well, here's 2/3. How many 1/9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how many copies of 1/9 are in 2/3? And we just said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the answer is 6. Okay, so like I said, we're going to skip page 2. So let's go ahead and move to the next page where we learn about the algorithm. I'm actually going to teach you 3 things, 3 different ways to divide on this. So what is 6 rods divided by 2 rods? In other words, how many groups of 2 red rods can you get from 6 red rods? So if you had 6 red rods and you wanted to know how many groups of 2 are in 6 red rods, you'd go 1, 2, 3. So that means 6 divided by 2 is 3. So what is 6 rods divided by 2 rods? So that's just says how many groups of 2 are in 6? The answer is 3. What is 6 white rods divided by 2 white rods? Same thing, right? You're going to have 6 white rods. You're going to divide them into 2, so it's going to be exactly the same. Same, same, same. So they're all going to be 6 divided by 2. Okay, so I'm going to make this bigger now that we're done with the rods. Let me get my... Okay, so complete the table. Redo the problems from the previous activity by rewriting the problems so that the fractions are of the same type. What that means is they have the same denominator. So 1 divided by a half. We need to rewrite it so they have the same denominator. So if we do that, what would we need to do in order to make a common denominator? So we look at the problem, and everybody agrees 1 is really 1 over 1, right? So to make a common denominator, do you all agree we would have to multiply both of these by 2? because the common denominator would be 2. Isn't 2 over 2 still 1? Yes, it is. So I could rewrite this problem as 2 over 2 divided by 1 over 2. So 2 over 2 divided by 1 over 2. So look at the problem. Make sure you're on board here. It was 1 divided by a half. Well, isn't it still 1 divided by a half? It is. So watch what we can do. So 2 divided by 1, going straight across, over 2 divided by 2. Well, 2 divided by 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So what's my answer? 2. And didn't we learn that from the other page? How many 1/2 are in 1? So that was where I drew the circle. Said how many 1/2 pieces are in one full circle, and you can easily see it's 2. But is that a cool way to divide? Until we learn this Common Core math, I had never, ever seen this. I thought that is the neatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Making common denominators and then divide the numerators, divide the denominator. So it doesn't work unless you make a common denominator first. So the common denominator between 1 and 2 was 2. This one already had it, so I had to multiply this by 2 over 2. So then we get 2 divided by 1 over 2 divided by 2. 2 divided by 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then we simplified. 2 divided by 1, 2. Cool, huh? So let's do another one, and then you guys can practice one. So what would be the common denominator between 3 and 9? Does everybody agree it'd be 9? Because remember how we learned you start with the biggest one and say, try it first. Does 3 go into 9? Yes. So we're going to change these both to 9, which means this fraction is going to have to be multiplied by 3 over 3. So now we have 6/9 divided by 1/9. And we just divide straight across. 6 divided by 1 over 9 divided by 9. So 6 divided by 1 is 6. 9 divided by 9 is 1. And what's 6 over 1? 6, because that means 6 divided by 1. Is that cool? And look back at your front page. Didn't we say 2/3 divided by 1/9 was 6 when we use the rods? Yeah. And it's still 6 when we use this little common denominator method. So go ahead and try the next one. Turn the camera off right now and try the next one and see if you can get it. And then join back up and we'll check it together. Okay, common denominator again is 9. So this one needs to be multiplied by 3 over 3. So this is 1/9 divided by 3/9. And lots of students at this point go, whoa, you can't divide 1/9 by 3/9. Sure you can. You're just going to get a smaller fraction. So you're not going to get a nice whole number like this. So in the numerator, you're going to have 1 divided by 3. In the denominator, you're going to have 9 divided by 9. So that's 1 divided by 3 over 1, which is 1/3. Because doesn't this 1 just go away, right? And what's 1 divided by 3? Is 1 over 3. Interesting, huh? So the denominator, when it's 1, which it always is going to be when we use this method, really just goes away because anything divided by 1 is itself. So we just rewrite 1 divided by 3 as a fraction, keeping it in the same order. The first number is the numerator, second number is the denominator. Isn't that so fun? Yay! Okay, let's do another one, and then if you want to turn off the video and try the next one, go for it. If you want to just work along, that's fine too. So again, we have a common denominator of 9.